Hey everybody, welcome back to Brent's Backyard Redneckery. You know, every year I try to grow peppers. This kind of pepper, that kind of pepper. Sometimes I change it up. Usually I'll have a couple hot peppers, a couple regular peppers. I grew the Reaper this year, turned out pretty decent. Probably got about 20 peppers. My Fatali peppers ended up growing about 4,000 or 5,000. Well, maybe not, but it seemed like it. Also grew this one pepper called the Kalugeritsa. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a sweet and hot pepper at the same time. Reminds me of a Diablito pepper that I had a few years back. I've tried to get that one to re-germinate and I've had no luck with it. I can't find the seeds anymore, but this one's a good substitute. So this year I've taken these peppers, I'm going to smoke some and use some regular ones, and we're going to make a smoked pepper sauce. Hopefully it'll turn out. I made one a couple of years ago with a different pepper that turned out good, so I'm going to use that recipe. Toss this together and see what we come up with. So get ready. Tell you what we need to do. Let's get into it. This is what all's going in my hot sauce. I got tomatoes. These are Romas. I got those because they're a little bit more pasty. We got water. It calls for molasses, but I'm going to use my sorghum. White wine vinegar, cumin, some ground up garlic. Got some basil in here. The smoked peppers there. Regular peppers here, kosher salt, and onion. So let's go ahead and see what we need to do to make this hot sauce. Okie dokie, okie dokie. So the first one we're going to do, we'll be using 15 of the normal peppers. And I smoked 30 peppers using plum, a little bit of white ash, and some mimosa, of all things. And the smell is absolutely amazing. Once we have that in there, we're going to dump in 2 cups of onions, which was about 2 medium onions. Once we got that in there, we're going to dump in our tomatoes. I used 8 Roma, which turned out to be 5 cups. So that's going to go in. And we're going to get our cumin and our basil. The cumin is going to be 4 tablespoons. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? I guess that'll help give it a little bit of chili flavor, but I'm going to start with 2 because it's been a couple years since I made this. So I'm going to start with 2, and then if I need more, I'll put it in there. I'm going to do the same thing with my basil. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of the basil. Now that we got that in there, our next step, we're going to add water. So to begin with, we're going to start with 3 cups, and I'm using Simple Truth distilled water. And if 3 cups is enough, I won't go to 4. If it isn't, then I will go to 4. There's 2. And here comes number 3. All right, let me get a spoon and stir that up and see what we're looking like. I don't know, it should break down. A lot of that should break down whenever there's just a little bit of juice down in there, and I don't want this to be super thick because it's really hard to pour the last one that I made. It was more like a salsa rather than a hot sauce, so I might add my extra cup of water, and if it needs to cook down, it can just cook down. How about we do that? So we got 4 cups of water. Last thing we're going to pop in is our garlic. We got 2 tablespoons of garlic minced, and that was about 4 to 5 cloves there off of the garlic head. So now that we got all this in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out to the grill because I'm afraid it's going to stink up the house with capsaicin and get everybody hacking and coughing. So this is going to go outside. We're going to put it on the grill, bring it to a boil, and then lower the temperature and let it simmer for a bit, and then see what happens after that. Okay, I've got this out here on the grill. One thing I did forget was my kosher salt. Got 1 tablespoon of that. I'm just going to mix that up in with everything else. I'm going to put a lid on this. Right now I've got the grill on about that much of a flame. I think it's about medium. But I'm going to put the lid on this and let it all get in there and combine nice and yummy like. Let that get up to a boil, then I'm going to let it simmer for about a half an hour. Okay, according to my, whoa, all right, we just reached boiling. The reason I'm fanning this is so you can see what's in it, because the steam won't stop for me. But there's what our hot sauce is looking like so far. I'm going to turn down the heat, and we're going to go and simmer this for about a half an hour before we do anything else to it. Ooh, that lid is hot. Ugh. All right, that is looking pretty doggone tasty. Let's stir it up a little bit here and see what we got. Yeah, it's a little bit thick, but I hadn't even chopped it up yet. So I'm going to chop it up, and we'll see if it has a consistency I like or not. Yeah, so since this food processor likes to, I don't know, just blow water and whatever juices everywhere, I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. So I'm probably going to start right about there and see how that turns out. All right, we're going to on a low pulse. Whoa, look at that. Blew it right out of there. See that dripping? Holy crap, man. I might have to strain the juice and just blend up all the stuff so it doesn't make a mess like this. So what a pain in the neck this is turning out to be. So I'm going to do this in, I guess, a 3-step process. Try to get this reading. See what I'm doing. I'm going to take my ladle. I'll put this in there. I'll let all the watery juice go down in through my sieve. And I'm probably going to press that so I can get out as much juice as I can, because there's still juice in all these vegetables that's going to break down whenever I go to blend them up. So I'm going to do this and get out all the stuff that I can. I'll get out all the juice I can, I should say. And that's how much we have so far. So now I'm going to take this and unstick that. And I'm going to scoop it down in here. And that's how I will end up processing this. So I'm going to get as much in there as I can, see how it works this time. All right, now all I have is my vegetables and spices and whatever. So I'll take this lid, pop it back on here. Maybe. This down in there to keep that from splashing, and see what happens. Well, I don't see anything leaking, so this is how I'm going to finish it up. All right, so that's everything without the juice. All the juice is in there. So I've got that blended up. Now what I'm going to do is add just a little bit of the water to this until I get it to the consistency I want. I'm also going to put in my sorghum and my white wine vinegar. We've got our white wine vinegar here. We're going to put in 4 tablespoons of this and mix it all in. Number 4, 4 tablespoons of sorghum. Four. So now that I've got my sorghum and my vinegar in, I'm going to go ahead and blend this back up and then put it back into our pot and slowly add in some of the water that we need to. And we're going to put it back into our pot and add some of the water that we strained to get this to the thickness we want. So far, I haven't added anything to this as far as our juice that we strained, and it's a little too thick right now. It's like a thick salsa. So I'm going to put in 1 cup of that, mix it up, see how that looks, and then keep adding until I get it where I think it's okay. Turn on the heat and cook it down. All right, so I've got 1 cup in there. It's a little bit better consistency, but not quite what I want. I mean, you can make it as thick or as thin as you want whenever you make it, but I want mine to be a little bit more pourable. So we'll put in our 2nd cup, get that mixed in, see how that looks. Still a little too thick. Got 3 cups there. So I'm going to leave it at 3 cups for the time being because it's starting to run through the slotted spoon and come apart. I don't really want that either. So I may just have to let this cook down until it gets to where it's pourable, but not too pourable or not pourable enough. So I'm going to put it on a low to medium heat here. Run it about on a 3. And I'm going to let that simmer for about, I'll say 20 minutes and then check it and see how it's looking. Okie dokie. We've done this. Let it sit on a low heat for 30 minutes. I'm going to fill up 1 bottle and just see what the consistency of this is. Let's see how this pours. A little chunky. That might actually work out pretty good since I'll be using it mostly on whatever pizza, chicken, whatever else. So I think it'll work. I'll go ahead and fill all these up. All right. Before I finish bottling this, let's see how it tastes. And it's got the kick of the pepper that I put in it. It's got the good smoke from what I smoked it with. Vinegar's not too overpowering. Spices aren't too overpowering. I'll say it's a good hot sauce. So I ended up making 6 bottles. And then I've got 2 jars that I'm going to can. These come with these plastic little sleeves that go over the top to seal them up, because you can't really water bath can any of these things. And they're going to last if you refrigerate them for about 6 months. And you got to use a heat gun or something like that to get these to the heat shrink to go on there correctly. I have no heat gun, so I've got like a 20-year-old hair dryer. See if it works. Let's go with high. Well, it's ugly, but sealed up. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of those, and then I'm going to water bath can those, and I'm done. All right, wraps up another episode of Brent's Backyard Redneckery. I'll toss the recipe in the description in case you want to check it out. You could probably use whatever pepper you want to here. If you want a hotter sauce, use a hotter pepper. If you want a milder sauce, use a milder pepper. But I think that all of this will go together very well to turn you to have your own hot pepper that you can enjoy for at least 6 months. If you make a pepper sauce like this and store it in your fridge, you're looking at about a 6-month storage period. So make sure to use it up pretty quick. The stuff that you put in your jars and seal, you can keep that for up to about a year. And then once you open it, refrigerate for about 6 months, you should be good to go. Might lose a little bit of nutrition factor, but other than that, you're going to be safe. So if you guys have learned anything, give me a thumbs up. Like this video, share it with your friends. Come back next time. I'll tell you what you need to do. Y'all have a good one.